The lucky shot of Boom Boom as we come back here in the Moda Center Studios. Trailblazers courtside. Mike Baird, Mike Rice. Yes, to get your VIP pass. I don't think those are available anymore. And this is last night. The Moda Center. Coach Rice and I doing what we could to make sure the crowd. This was second half. Hey. Look at you. Look at you wearing Tommy Bahama or something. Whatever you were wearing. Looked like you were headed to play in a canasta tournament.
I was on my way to
Pocono Beach.
Miami Beach. It was happy hour, 4 to 7.
Right. Joining us now, speaking of happy hour, is the head coach of the Trailblazers, Terry Stotts. Terry from San Antonio, where I understand we have swapped weather with San Antonio, Coach. It's 85 and beautiful here and not so much down there.
Yeah, I'm going to remind my wife of that when she complains that I get to leave the weather of Portland to go to Texas.
Just take a picture and send her a text and tell her it's terrible down there, it's cold, it's raining.
I did. Okay? I let her know right away.
Good idea. Coach, great win last night, and you made some adjustments that were very, very key, and the most notable one, obviously, is giving Nick the shot on Tony Parker, but that wasn't the only one. You went to your bench. You went to Will Barton without Mo Williams and Thomas Robinson, gave those guys some run. You put CJ in there. The rotation was changed a little bit, and it seemed like maybe for the first time in the series, you got San Antonio off balance a little bit. And we know series are long like this, and there are lots of adjustments and lots of key times. Last night seemed like a real key time in the series, obviously, with you guys in a do-or-die situation.
Well, it did. And, particularly in games 2 and 3, the first quarter was okay, and then they went on a run, and we had a hard time recovering from it in both those games. I thought the way we came out in the first quarter was terrific. We had good energy from the crowd, but more than anything else, we were able to sustain what we were doing throughout the game rather than having lulls that San Antonio had been able to capitalize on.
MB just mentioned about Nick on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, when he became the backup point guard and you had Will Barton in there, it gave you some length on both ends, on offense and the defensive end, as both of those guys really rebounded well from the backcourt. It just seemed a lot of the questions were answered last night. Can this carry over to Game 5, what you did?
Well, it certainly can. It's going to be tough. It's San Antonio's a tough place to play, but Nick was really good at both ends. He was able to defend Parker from the beginning. It really took a toll on him, but when he became the point guard, he was able to get the ball, and I don't know how many times he and Will would get the ball and really start pushing the ball up the court quickly and get us into our transition game. So it worked out really well, especially, in the first half, we didn't have a true point guard, although Nick was probably our primary ball handler. But we had Nick and we had Will and we had CJ, all guys who were good ball handlers, but not necessarily point guards per se. But, that was part of the thinking, is that we would just play in flow, play in movement. LA was on the court, so we keep it simple and get him the ball with some shooters on the perimeter.
Coach, we discussed in the last segment, Will and how well Will is liked by his teammates and how important a game like last night could be to his future, and with going into the off season, which hopefully is down the road, as far as what the team needs are, and the fact that you discover things during playoff series like this. But Thomas Robinson as well, and sitting by Rice during games, an old coach, Will makes him a little nervous at times because Will makes things happen. Mostly good, but Will can get a little out of control at times. He has to pump the brakes. But he and Thomas together, they've got this interesting chemistry coming off the bench. We saw it again last night. These guys seem to feed off each other a little bit energy-wise, and they play well together. They certainly did last night.
Well, they did, and they provided the energy. And, you talk about Will. I remember, ironically enough, Coach Popovich talking about Ginobili early in his career and how he kind of just held his breath and closed his eyes while Ginobili did his thing. And you have to give guys like that freedom to do what they do well. And certainly that was on display last night with Will. And I thought Thomas, with his energy, those two played off each other. And regardless of what people think, I'm not anti-playing my bench. But when they play as well as they play, I'm going to keep them on the court.
What kind of mood is the team in going down there? Is there nervous energy, or are they thinking that we've got a shot at this team? We played so well in Game 4. Just what is the feeling like?
To be honest, it's really not any different. You've been around them. You know their personalities. We just finished a team dinner at a restaurant. And it was good camaraderie, and they're in a good mood. And but I know they'll be ready to play tomorrow. I think the win last night certainly gave us confidence. We hadn't put together a game yet, and we haven't played the way that we know we could play. And I think just getting that win last night, but more importantly, how we got the win, just gives everybody a chance to exhale a little bit and realize that we can get a win down here.
Lillard in the fourth quarter, he had 9 points. Second quarter was magnificent. You lost by 3, but you had been averaging 13 points deficit in that second quarter. You already mentioned it, how you improved there. But Lillard in the fourth quarter, he had 9 points of his 25. You think he was a lot fresher, not having the responsibility to chase Parker around?
Well, yes and no, but he was guarding Parker in Game 1, and then Wes guarded him in Game 2 and Game 3,
right.
And then Nick guarded him in the second half of Game 3. So Damian really hadn't been on Parker since Game 1. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think his stamina was fine in all the games. I don't know if that's necessarily the explanation or not.
He certainly looked to attack more last night. I mean, he hit some outside shots as well, but not just the big dunk, which we saw the replay of moments ago here in the studio, but he just seemed to really go at the San Antonio defense, and maybe that gets a guy going at both ends. But for whatever reason it was, if you guys spread the floor a little bit more or encouraged him to attack, and if you did, it certainly worked.
Well, 62 points in the paint.
Yeah.
Did
that surprise you, Coach?
Well, for us, yeah, because we're not a team that scores a lot in the paint. We're 30 to 40 points in the paint at best. So, I thought Damian came off the first ball screen on the first possession and nailed his jumper, and it looked like he was really locked in. And I thought he did a nice job of mixing up when to pull up jump shots and when to go to the basket. But, in the fourth quarter, he got to the basket 3 or 4 times. He was aggressive, and he was able to finish. And the tough thing, just like with any great scorer, great point guard, like use Tony Parker, is that they know when to do what. They know when to pull up, and they know when to take it to the basket. I thought Damian mixed it up well last night.
All right, Coach. Send animal control into the locker room, perhaps reptile control before the game tomorrow night, just to make sure there's no monkey business going on in there.
Yeah, we're on top of that one.
Okay, I kind of figured you would be. We appreciate very much the time as always, Coach, and good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, the head coach, Terry Stotts. Great of him to join us. That's like 3 or 4 weeks straight that he's come on this, and they're just getting out of a team dinner, and I didn't even want to ask, but he always says, yeah, and he's terrific. So we appreciate that very much. And
he probably had a fine cabaret or
cabaret, sure.
Yeah,
no, I don't think he went to the cabaret. He probably had a Cabernet tonight.
Cabernet, yeah.